Hey y'all, hope you're doing well today. So it feels it feels a little strange coming back to do videos. I've been out of my routine for some time now, and so to sit down and talk into my phone again is feels different. It feels new again, but it's good. It's in a good kind of way. And let me just kind of relate it to this. It's kind of like I don't know if y'all do this. I do this sometimes. If you have this one favorite meal from a local restaurant that you love so much, and you just eat it so much, all your friends and family are like, you're totally gonna get burnt out, and you don't, but for whatever reason you get distracted. Maybe there's a new restaurant that opens or something like that, and you literally just forget about it. And then when you remember, like, 8 or 10 weeks later, or even months later, it's like you get real excited. And so when you get to have that favorite meal that used to be like your old favorite meal, when you get to have it again, it's new. It's kind of like it just makes all the flavors pop, and it's just, so that's kind of how I view coming back to making my videos. It feels new, but it's a good thing. And so I'm really excited to be here with you again, and I hope that you enjoyed today's message. So I've mentioned to you all before, I have a background in education, specifically art education. And with my degree, I could have taught any grade level whatsoever between kindergarten through seniors, 12th grade. And so what I wound up doing, the job I got was with elementary kids, and I really, really enjoyed it. It gave me a lot of experience with young children, which I did not have prior to that. I have a very small family, so we have a handful of kids, but there's not a lot. So it was great. It was really, really great to learn, about child development and psychology at that age, and just, I think children are just wonderful, wonderful human beings. And so you hear people sometimes say, that even as an adult you can learn a lot from children, and it's true. It's like once you get past that stage in your own life, there's elements of that mindset that that's just so innocent and pure, and that if we can just find ways to reconnect with that state of being as an adult, it can bring you a lot of joy and a lot of great perspective too, with regards to the world and interacting with this reality as an adult. And it reminds me of that Bible verse where it talks about you must become as little children to enter the kingdom of heaven. And it's like, if you just apply that through the lens of metaphor, like a spiritual lens, with regards to your spiritual maturity, it makes a lot of sense. And so, because it's kind of like, now you know things that you didn't know as a child, and this is where that challenge comes in, which you can tie in the hero's journey. We talk about that all the time from Joseph Campbell. You can tie that in, and ultimately, we have to struggle with some hard realizations as an adult, with the awareness, with the conscious awareness we have as adults. We have to work through all those things, and that's where we have the opportunity, if you look at it through the lens of the victory, and not victimhood, then you can view it as an opportunity to mature yourself, like on the soul and the spirit level. And so I hope that today's message is going to encourage you. I hope that what I have opened the video with is going to help set your mindset, to give you kind of a good foundation for the discussion today. And so I had posted in I think it's called the community section in YouTube, about my plans for the message. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And so it's just essentially being inspired by elements from childhood, as far as healing from psychological abuse, right? from just being entangled with any kind of deceptive people, manipulative people, controlling people that you've come across in life. It's all about healing from that, getting back in balance, getting strong in yourself, and trusting your own inner guidance again, because you were gaslit for so long, and made to believe that you're incompetent, and that you have to totally buy into the controllers' perspectives and demands and everything. And so we're learning that those perceptions and demands and everything, as they're trying to script your reality for you, we learned that it's actually a choice that we have to allow someone else's paradigms to supersede our own. I think that's the right term there. To come before, to be more important than, or to just totally dismiss our own perceptions and beliefs and paradigms. And so that's kind of what I mean. And really, when you look into a lot of channels on YouTube that are talking about the same kind of stuff, that's what it's about when they're trying to help you grow. A lot of these channels are focused on the toxic behaviors in manipulative people, and I think that's good, in a sense to learn about. And we can always, identify parts of ourselves that we can grow too, like through watching those channels, right? That we can better ourselves and become aware of. We've talked about pulling things up from our unconscious awareness, how we may have very immature or negative behaviors that are coming from an unconscious place within us. It's good to identify that too, right? And try to work on that and become a better person and to grow in that manner. But also the channels that are focused on not so much discussing the toxic behaviors of just deceptive people, but the ones that are focused more on your own personal growth. It's like that's kind of what their focus is on, is strengthening yourself, and specifically trusting yourself again, learning to trust yourself again, your own judgment, which forms your beliefs, which forms your paradigms that you operate in this reality with and from, right? So gotta cut up some of this air here. It's toasty today. Get a little airflow going in here. All right, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay. So let's start with being inspired by childhood, the magic of the wonder of childhood, right? The mind of a child. So in school, there's one activity that's kind of neat to see the kids complete, and it's called different things, but essentially it's where they write a letter to someone that they have identified as a role model or a hero in their life. And this is great for them to write a letter, because especially if they're coming from a family where they've only been exposed to toxicity, and they don't really even know what a healthy family dynamic is like, when they can identify someone in this world as a role model or a hero, and then they can engage in this discussion with this person. It's like helping to set that foundation in their mind for constructing what a healthy relationship is like. Does that make sense? And so when they're writing these letters to their heroes, what they're doing is they're identifying the characteristics that they admire in these people, and they're talking about how that impacts them and how that inspires them, and it's kind of like an exchange within their mind throughout constructing that letter, right? Especially for older children, when they can go deeper with the assignment. And so this is important. This is important because it requires creativity. It requires creative thinking, because a lot of times the kids will pick someone as a role model that they don't really know that well, like a celebrity, or a baseball or football player, or someone like that. And so it's like they know very little, but their minds fill in the gaps, in a positive manner. They kind of create this idealization, but it's for a good purpose. Again, it's like a visualization technique to try and grasp what a healthy grown person must be like, as well as what a healthy relationship is like, the dynamic there. So it's just really great, and it truly does require some level of creativity. So I want to take this for a minute. That's the first activity, and we can do that as adults too. We can, as we're journaling, which I mentioned a lot before, I like to do. That's just one activity you can do in your journal, is to just write letters to, like, say your experience with a deceptive person was in a romantic relationship, right? Dynamic. Well, then what you may do in your journaling is to, write letters to this person that you can visualize, hopefully in your future, that, you can talk about all their qualities, like you're writing them a letter, like, again, it's an imaginative exercise, right? We know that it's exercising our imagination and our creative ability, and it can just be like writing them a letter, like, hey, so-and-so, I hope you're having a great time on your trip. I was just thinking about how I really appreciate you because this XYZ, or you're essentially doing the same thing. You're pointing out qualities that are healthy in this person. So it's helping you. It's just a vehicle, essentially, for you to identify characteristics and qualities in a person that are good, because you've learned what love isn't. You've learned what an unhealthy relationship is like, and so therefore you know what you want to avoid. But now you're starting to shift to the positive mindset, right? Not a victimhood mindset, but through the lens of the victory, that you're going to get through this, and that you're going to be able to construct or create, or from the spiritual lens, co-create a beautiful future for yourself. So you're identifying now the qualities in this person that you're seeking, and so I think it's fun. I mean, I have this background in art, I have this background in education, and so it's just, I hope that you're inspired by that. And so when you're talking about creativity, that's just it. Manipulative people, I feel like, may seem smart because they're getting something over on you when you're naive, right? So when you come into this realization that they have fooled you, it can feel like they're smart. And it's not that they're not, but you have to take it deeper to really understand, like, what this means for you. And so again, you're using, you have an option. You have the option of a victimhood lens or a victory lens. So if you shift it to the positive, the victory lens, what you're going to see is, okay, they may have gotten something over on me because they exploited my trust. See, when you start to view that, which is also true, yes, they fooled you, but they did so by exploiting something that's a beautiful quality within you. Your empathy, your trust, your good heart, your giving nature, all those things, they exploit those qualities in us, right? For personal gain through deceptive means. It's all bad. It's all corrupt. And so when you understand that, and then you're able to find examples in real life, be it a role model, or even a couple that has been together a long time, and you can see this healthy relationship dynamic between them. You start to see what healthy is. What you understand is they're not really smart. They're actually incompetent through the lens of lacking creativity. They're having to go through the back door. They're having to go about achieving something through a corrupt manner because they lack the ability to create a beautiful result for themselves ethically. right? Or at least they believe they lack the ability to create something good in their life, so they actually have this victimhood mindset that they have to steal for it and deceive for it. And because they try to go about achieving something or getting something in that manner, it's not going to last. It's very destructive, not only for the people, the poor people that they fool and they deceive, right? Which is, you know, us, if you've been entangled with these people, but it's also destructive for them. It's not lasting. It's going to come back and bite them. You know, you can use the term karma, but the point is they lack that creative spark. And what's interesting, to put the spiritual spin on this, or lens to look at this through, I feel like that creative spark comes directly from the divine, because that's what the divine's all about, is creation, constant creation, which is why there's that cycle, the life, death, life cycle we've talked about. There has to be death before life comes again, right? You got to be strong to be able to ride those waves and go through those cycles throughout your whole life. There's going to be many, many doors that close, but then there's going to be another door that opens for you. So you've got to be able to have faith in that cycle, which is part of, I feel like, the divine design, right? As part of that continual flow of creation. So I feel like they lack that creativity because they lack that divine spark inside of them. They're void of it, which is why, you know, a lot of times you talk about it, you know, being able to see this in their eyes. It's like you can see the void sometimes. You can see the darkness sometimes. And the sad part of it is, but don't let this be a trap for you, the sad part of it is you can't make them see it any other way. You just can't. So they've got to do it themselves, right? So so what we're doing is we're doing the opposite. We're actually recognizing, acknowledging, and embracing and utilizing this creative spark within us, intentionally, consciously, through these kind of activities. That hopefully, I hope these activities, I've got a couple more to share with you, but I hope that they will lift you up and elevate your spirit, because that's the exact opposite of what a deceptive person, manipulative person will do to you. So we got to work, we got to kind of set ourselves back in balance by doing the good things for ourselves, right? And one another, for one another too. I had mentioned in my community post playground games, specifically healthy and fun movement, because I feel like this spirit, this destructive spirit that comes from people who intentionally deceive and use and abuse, it kind of is relatable to, I think the term is atrophy, where it's kind of like I've talked about feeling frozen, you know, it's kind of like your muscles just kind of set up and don't move. It's like that's what happens to your spirit, because again, this creative force is not flowing through. It's kind of like it doesn't flow through them, and it kind of feels like it's a virus, like it spreads to you. They want the darkness to spread to you too. And so, because remember, they're always in this competitive mindset that, you know, if you're happy and joyful, they can't stand that. So, you know, if they can bring you down and get you caught up in spiritual atrophy, then that kind of is like just a temporary fix for them, an ego boost for them, right? And that's all their life is. It's just seeking continual temporary boosts for their ego, which is like almost like drug use, you know, like a hit here and there and over and over. It's not sustainable. But what we want to do sometimes, you can start with, if you're still struggling on the inside, depending on the stage of your healing that you're in, if you're still struggling here, you can start with out here, the physical. You can start by movement. And a lot of times, if you're struggling on the inside, it's not going to work for you to try to make yourself to do something physical that you don't enjoy. Like, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to lift these weights, I'm going to do these sets, I'm going to do these reps. You know, if you don't enjoy doing that, then you're just causing this is the way I view it, this is my lens, now you're just causing, you know, more resistance out here that you have to deal with, and you're already working with the gaslighting that you've been through on the inside. You're trying to work through that, and now you're just it's kind of like you're It's not helping. That's what I have found. So you have to find some kind of movement, physical movement, that you actually enjoy. It may be jogging. Maybe you truly enjoy that. Maybe you hate jogging. If you hate jogging, maybe you look into yoga, or I think it's called Tai Chi. There's so many different kind of forms of movement you can look into. Gymnastics, dancing. It might be surfing, or paddle boarding, or anything that where it requires this physical movement. Because once you get the body moving, it's funny how it can also get the spirit moving again too. It can dismantle and destroy that atrophy that had tried to set in from consistent exposure to a toxic person, right? A cruel person. So, and it does so. You can back this up scientifically by looking at what exercise, what kind of, what are they called? Endorphins, or not chemicals, but whatever's produced within the body from doing these physical activities, and they're actually like feel good hormones, you know. So there's proof that this works too, to work from the outside in. So that's the second tip, is just be inspired by children and how they just have fun on the playground and running around, and just consider healthy and fun movement, starting from the outside in to get your spirit free from feeling frozen. So the third thing is creative thinking, specifically like imagination inspired conversations. And you can do this, you know. Narcissistic people who are, you know, trying to keep you under their control, they a lot of times keep you that way by shaming you for just doing normal, natural things in life, and like just wanting to go shopping. They may guilt trip you for that, or whatever it is. If you try to share some kind of anything that you've created, they might be like, oh yeah, okay, I like that. But you know, it's like they're going to minimize, they're going to be condescending toward anything you create, anything that brings you joy, whether you create it or you buy it or you do it or whatever it is. So again, I'm just thinking in terms of that atrophy setting in, that, you know, where you just feel like nothing you do is going to get by without some type of criticism or snide remark, or even their body language is haughty, you know. So you kind of freeze up in their presence. And think about how free you felt when you finally gave yourself permission to be out of their presence more and more and more until you left. And so this third activity is just allowing yourself that freedom, the creative freedom. And it can start with conversations, creative thinking type conversations. And you might be able to find this, I have, in really well moderated online communities, where you know that if there's, you know, these kind of people that are toxic and cruel, if they try to enter into the conversation, you know that this space online is moderated well. And a lot of these YouTube channels, you know, they do this. They moderate the comment section very well. And but you know that, okay, this is a safe place to express myself creatively and not be judged. And it's kind of like dipping your toe into the pond of what it's like to be conversing and engaged with healthy people, good-hearted people again, because you were likely isolated when you were being manipulated and controlled. You were likely isolated. So it's good to just find ways that are safe to engage in creative conversations where you can kind of just start to open up again, right, safely. So I hope that this has been inspiring for you. And you know, I feel like just keeping in the forefront of our mind the concept of creation and how it does come from the divine, it's a good thing to to want to create and be creative, in my opinion, because that in itself is acknowledgement that that we are, in fact, a work in progress, and that there's always room to grow. And there's, a person who doesn't want to grow, who is set in their ways, they're not going to be open to creative thinking, or even a creative approach to ethically obtain things in life. That's why they steal and they lie and they cheat. So I hope this has gotten the wheels turning for you. I hope that it's been very inspiring. I thank you for coming along today for the message, and I hope that you have a beautiful day, and I will see you again very soon.